ready for it.
Right, so I'm joined today with my cup of tea with a lovely Sarah Brent from Positively Blooming Hypnobirthing, and I thought it was really worth us having a chat for all the pregnant ladies out there that kind of follow my page and that do coaching with me. But and we've got some friends in the background as well, right on cue.
They've just waited, haven't they?
They have, yeah, waited for the record sign. So I suppose the really obvious question to start us off then, Sarah, is what actually is hypnobirthing?
Okay, so hypnobirthing. That might be the postman, but we'll just ignore it. Okay,
just move on.
Hypnobirthing is all about birth preparation, and it's mind and body birth preparation, getting you ready for that transformational phase when you're actually having your baby. So it's really good for pregnancy, really good during labour, and really good afterwards as well. I think a lot of people think hypnobirthing is a bit weird and a bit wacky, and I certainly felt like that when I was first introduced to it. In fact, it was my husband that said to me, why don't we try hypnobirthing for the birth of our second baby, because our first pregnancy and birth had been a little bit traumatic. So when he said that to me, I just rolled my eyes and thought, oh no, really? Just don't come to me with that mumbo jumbo nonsense. But when I thought about it and I found out more about it, I thought actually there's a lot of science involved in hypnobirthing, and a lot of mind preparation as well. So
yeah, I mean, I know I came across it because heavily pregnant with my first child, I was absolutely terrified at the thought of giving birth and really just didn't think I would cope with it. So I did a bit of research and found hypnobirthing, and luckily there was a local practitioner where I lived at the time, and so did it. And that first birth did end up being very traumatic, and I know I wouldn't have coped with it anywhere near as well without the hypnobirthing. And I think that was a hugely positive thing for me. So how does it actually help then, Sarah?
Okay, so we've got various tools and techniques that help to keep you calm, confident, and in control. We look at all different areas. So it's about gathering up your personal resources, really, and getting some self-insight into how you work and how your mind works. Have you heard of the fear, tension, pain cycle?
No.
Okay, so I think it was Dr. Grantley Dick Reed, I believe his name was. He said that if you have a fear about birth, then you will feel tension in your body, which will aggravate any pain, and you go round in that loop and round in that cycle. So what I do specifically with hypnobirthing is look at that fear, and not all of my clients are fearful of birth, but they do have
I definitely
worries.
was both times.
They do have worries about unknown and things that might happen, and they're not necessarily big fears, but they're little worries and concerns. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know how painful it might be.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want my partner to see me like this, and they're all little worries that build up. So I kind of break down fear a lot, and we talk about those things that make up those worries so that we can avoid the tension and avoid the pain. And there's also lots of techniques: breathing, visualization, image rehearsal, affirmations, a whole massive great toolkit of things that you can use to enhance that as well. So there's lots of different elements to it, and what I like to do is lay it out so that my clients can pick and choose the ones that are going to work for them, because not everything works for everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's various tools that you use.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I liked as well, although the lady that I worked with my first child, as my husband was deployed overseas, I did most of it on my own. But the sessions that he came to, he was able to be very involved in it, and we used kind of soft touch therapies and kind of different types of massage. So I think that was an important part of it for me as well, that I could give him something to do that was going to help me. Yeah.
It's brilliant. I think the partners that come along, I don't always have partners. I sometimes work with women on their own. I did it all on my own. I went solo. Even though my husband was very much there, he was doing 2 jobs at the time, so he couldn't be as involved as perhaps he would like to have been.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really good when birth partners come along because they love the science, they love the biology and the science of the chemicals that are created in your body. They love having a mission and a job to do, and it brings everybody much closer. They, partners bond, baby gets used to the touch and the feel of partner being there as well. So it's really, really nice to have that connection.
Yeah, and I think it gives your partner something constructive to know they can do during the process as well, because kind of, certainly, as I say, my first birth was really quite traumatic, so having to watch that happen to somebody must be quite difficult as well. So giving tools to both parties to use becomes really quite useful, doesn't it? So what does it actually involve then if somebody comes to work with you to kind of learn about hypnobirthing? How do you generally take people through?
I can work with people in various ways. So I have group workshops that some people love to work in groups, and they're quite happy to come along and have that conversation and listen to other people. I also work one-to-one with clients, which I can do in person or via Skype. And that's really good for, as I'm a hypnotherapist, that's really good for people that do have additional things going on, like might be very highly anxious, needle phobias, fear of being sick, all kinds of things. So I can work on a one-to-one basis with people that also don't like groups. Not everybody likes to be in a group. It's quite personal to them. Some people like to have that individual attention. And then for the independent learners amongst us, I've got a home study course so that they can just do everything, all the preparation online, and I interact with them online either via email or via a Facebook group, community group. So they do still get that support as and when they need it, if they need it, but we don't have that face-to-face time.
Yeah. Okay. So anybody that just sees the name hypnobirthing may kind of, as I first did, have this vision of a conker or something on the end of string being swung back and forth. So what part does hypnosis actually play in it?
Okay, so hypnosis, you're a master of hypnosis anyway. You probably don't realise that or know that, but you go in and out of hypnosis several times a day. It's completely and utterly natural. It's like a deep relaxation. I used to do it loads at school, gazing out the window.
Yeah.
Or, that. Or when you're driving and you're coming home from a familiar journey, and all of a sudden you think, oh, look, that's our turn off on the motorway. You've got that time distortion.
Yeah.
Or you're really engrossed in a good book. So hypnosis is completely natural, and you pass through it many times a day. It's about recognising when you're in that state and using it purposefully. So you fill up your mind with positive thoughts and images of birth. And then when you're doing that, you're building up a new belief system. So instead of that belief system that birth is scary or painful or frightening or out of control or anything that you're currently thinking that's unhelpful about birth, we build up a new belief system. And we do that when we're in that relaxed frame of mind. So it's just about utilising your natural skills anyway.
Brilliant. So that's very similar in a way to kind of coaching that I do with ladies in almost changing the way they see themselves and even how you talk to yourself. So it's changing that language from I don't think I can, or I'm scared, or what if this happens, just changing the language slightly to be more positive, which automatically gives you that bit more confidence.
Yeah.
And I think that the big thing, and certainly from my experience of hypnobirthing, I just felt like I could voice an opinion and make it heard all the way through that labour.
Gives you that confidence, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, understanding, that confidence, the knowledge. Yeah.
And unfortunately, I didn't kind of refresh it before I had my second one. I thought, I'll just do it again. I did read the book, and unfortunately at the time there was nobody local to where I had my second son. But I didn't have that same confidence at all, and I didn't feel I had any control either. So right. I think even if you've done it before, perhaps, or it's not your first child or anything like that, would you still say it's worth doing?
There is so much value. There is so much value in doing a course, a hypnobirthing course, whether it's your first baby, second baby, whether you've done it before, whether it's a refresher, because those skills are skills that you can use throughout pregnancy, you can use throughout the birth, and you can use afterwards as well. They really are skills for life, and you can apply them to almost any subject area in your life. So whether you want to tweak those skills and let them help you with, I don't know, managing 2 babies, breastfeeding 1, and having a toddler, and all of those moments that come along as a new parent. So there's skills that you can apply to absolutely anything, and there is an awful lot of value in doing a refresher, most definitely, because you can go back into your old mindset and your old ways, and your old natural styles of thinking can come back up, and very soon, without you realising, you can build up those unhelpful thoughts and beliefs that get you into that panic state, if you like. I kind of explain to my clients, if you can imagine on your dashboard you've got the speedometer. Well, I have a stressometer.
Okay.
And when the needle goes over into the red, that's that moment where everything kind of goes a little bit wrong. Or, sorry, I hope I can say this, you lose your shit.
Yes.
Yeah. So we try and keep out of the red, and all of those tools help keep you over here on your normal, preventing you from going up into that red. So that if anything happens, there's so many different variables in birth. So if you need any kind of intervention, if you need any medication, if things don't go according to plan, you've got that much space of your needle, of your stressometer, before you get to that point where you can't cope.
Yeah.
So that every step, every turn, every hurdle along the way, if you're going to have hurdles with your birth journey, you're in that nice place to be able to make and know that you afterwards. I think it's really important to know that you've made those right decisions. You're happy with what happened, because that's when you feel in control.
Yeah, and I think it's just feeling as well that you were able to make considered decisions rather than being forced perhaps down a certain path.
Feeling like you've been forced, definitely.
Yeah, so you mentioned as well there in terms of using the techniques after birth. Do you generally get any feedback on sort of how ladies feel after their birth and the sort of recovery that they tend to have, having done hypnobirthing?
Definitely. Recovery is much, much quicker. I think bonding with the baby is much, much quicker. Postnatal depression is far less. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, hypnobirthing doesn't guarantee you a nice, calm baby.
No, I know it definitely doesn't.
But what it does do is give you those tools to be able to cope with those new challenges that motherhood brings. So you can get back up, you spring back up much, much quicker. The healing process, feeling more confident in yourself and using those techniques to help you sleep. I do a nice new mummy bonus. And one of my clients said to me the other day, that was priceless. Really? Because those first couple of days when you're awake for like 24 hours a day for several days, feeding and adjusting, she said being able to listen to that and just switch off for 40 gave her a big recharge, like a battery recharge, big energy boost. So definitely. And the breathing exercises, the visualization, all of those things really do help.
Fantastic. And that feeds in, so when I take ladies on my postnatal restoration course, obviously their birth journey is a huge part of their experience and also kind of how I steer them through that course. But again, then, I generally start with breathing, which I always think it sounds quite inane, really, because we're breathing right now. But your breathing changes with pregnancy, but also with stress. And so that changes the kind of biomechanics within your body, as well as your mindset again, doesn't it? So it's interesting that we both use breathing positively in that way.
It's the one thing that you can control, isn't it? With all this going on around you, but you can control your breathing. And when you can control your breathing, you can manage your mind. It doesn't get so out of control. Yeah. You manage the chemical balance in your body. Everything. Yeah,
because I always say there's the scene in Sex and the City 2 where Charlotte goes and locks herself in the kitchen cupboard and has a cry. And I always say, in that situation, that's where you do what I call core breathing. but you would use a similar type of breathing, and it distracts the mind as well, just replenishes your body with the oxygen that it needs, gets rid of the waste products, and gives you that little window to actually kind of give a considered response to whatever is going on, rather than that, we're all mummies, we all snap at some point, but at least it's a tool in your toolbox that can really, really help with that.
Definitely.
Fantastic. So you mentioned as well that people can work with you one-to-one, in groups or online. So if having watched this, they think, actually, I really want to talk to Sarah about my birth journey, about hypnobirthing, how do people find you?
Find me really via the website, which is www.positivelyblooming.com. There's a contact page there. There's a list there. You can get on my list and get regular emails and updates from me as well, letting you know what's going on.
Excuse me a second.
Yes. It's not the dogs.
I know. Technology's great, isn't it?
So by the website positivelyblooming.com, my contact details are all over there.
Yeah, brilliant. And you mentioned your online program as well. Can people access that through?
Yes, absolutely. There's I've got a little tab on there called courses, and there's some free stuff available. There's the home study course. There's also the workshops that I do locally at the moment, and the one-to-one stuff that I can do locally or online. So there's a good mix there, depending on how that particular mum-to-be wants to work and what they need.
Brilliant. Sorry about the phone in the background. I've got no idea how to switch it off. Fantastic. And you say locally there, so where is locally for you? Where do you tend to work with people?
Yeah, locally is Lincoln in Lincolnshire, so I'm up at Greetwell Place there. I also have the ability to work in Essex, which is where I'm from. You've probably heard a bit of an accent. So I have office space that I use in Essex when I'm down visiting my family. So during the school holidays, we nip down there, and quite often, if I'm there for some time, I run a workshop.
Just for that bit of space.
I like it, yeah, just because I like it.
Fantastic. That's been absolutely smashing talking to you, Sarah, and thank you for sharing all that brilliant information as well. And so if you are pregnant, if you're kind of not even necessarily concerned about your birth, but just want those tools in your toolbox to help you to, dare I say, enjoy the experience that little bit more, then check out Sarah. I thoroughly recommend hypnobirthing. So I say I definitely wish I'd done that refresh second time round as well, because it made such a huge difference through the first birth. So
it's
fantastic. All right, brilliant. Thank you very much, Sarah. And
thanks, Lucy. Lovely to speak to you.
And
Bye.
speak to you soon.